Welcome to the special YouTube edition of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me this week, famed Dio and Black Sabbath drummer Vinny Appice. We talk about his new band, Last in Line, which features Jimmy Bain and Vivian Campbell. Of course, the trio made up the band that featured on Dio's Holy Diver album, so you know the music's going to sound good. On vocals, we've got Andrew Freeman. The album is called Heavy Crown. It comes out in February 2016. So I got a quick update on what was going on with that project. Vinny is also involved with Resurrection Kings, another album coming out in early 2016. And recently he was on Joel Hoekstra's CD, of course, Joel being the guitarist for Whitesnake. So we quickly talk about that. But we also get into why is Vinny Appice not going to be on the Black Sabbath farewell tour? If Bill Ward is not going to be there, in my opinion, Vinny should. So we talk about that. Interesting chat. It's a quick update. It's not an entire biography of Vinny. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll quickly mention that in February 23rd at the Bell Center in Montreal, Black Sabbath will be in town. And I've got a pair of tickets to give away to that. So keep listening to One on One here on YouTube and also on Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, iTunes. And find me on my Facebook, Mitch Lafon, and of course, One on One Mitch Lafon, and at Mitch Lafon on Twitter for all the details. They'll be forthcoming. But there you have it. Here is Vinny Appice. We are speaking with Vinny Appice of Last in Line, Resurrection Kings, of course, Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, all those wonderful things. Always a pleasure, Vinny. How are you?
Good, I'm good, man. Nice to talk to you again, Mitch. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time was the Kill Devil Hill show. No, in fact, it was the
Drum Wars.
The Drum Wars with your brother, who's
right.
You're still doing that, of course, with us. So we can also talk about that. But I want to talk about Last in Line because you just released the new video, Devil in Me. So the album, of course, is called Heavy Crown, comes out in February.
Right.
There was a time there where with Vivian's health and stuff, we didn't know if it was going to come out or what was it. Now everything seems to be, so just update us on where we are with Last in Line.
Well, things have all fallen in place, and Viv is moving along with his health, and he's doing really good now. So the other thing that was an obstacle was the Def Leppard schedule. You know, they actually toured more last year or this year than they have in a long time because they went out and then they decided to do an album, and they have an album coming out, so there was a lot of scheduling conflicts. So we really couldn't do much, in between all the stuff going on. And then it opened up enough where we were able to work on the album together and write the songs and then go in and record. And then once that was done, now we're looking at, we finally got a release date, and we're looking at doing some shows next year. We start off in January, actually with Def Leppard on the Def Leppard Rock Cruise in January. So
that's great.
There'll be some openings now where we're going to go out and do, a lot of dates here and there. So things are moving along now, full steam ahead.
Yeah, so we know that we had sort of the founding members of the Dio band get together and do this, and of course the song, the name of the band comes from a Dio song. In terms of sound, were you just trying to recapture what you were doing back then, or is this sort of a tribute to Ronnie, but with brand new music? Like musically, what are we trying to say or do?
Well, we didn't do any of that. We just went in the room and started, just started off with jamming. As far as the writing the new songs, we got rooms together and jammed a lot, and that's the way we did Holy Diver. We jammed, we recorded things. Sometimes Viv or Jimmy had a riff they wanted to work on. No one came in with a full song, and that's exactly the way we did Holy Diver. So we just took things we liked, some of the riffs that we liked, and put them together, and then tried different arrangements of it, and came up with the parts that we needed to make a song. And then Andy was there, not all the time, but when he was there, it was a lot easier and quicker because he would come up with some basic melodies or where he was going to sing, and then we were able to really move along knowing where the vocal is. And then there were times where he wasn't there, and we would just put together what we thought was a skeleton of a song, send it to him. And he's in Vegas, we're in LA. And then he would write some stuff and record it, send it back, and then we'd go from there. So that's the way we put this whole thing together, and it came out really quickly. Just getting in a room together and jamming, and the creativity was there. Everybody had ideas. And the cool thing is it's totally open. You got an idea, what is it? Let's try it, whether it's crazy or whatever. We tried everything. So the whole creativity process was very smooth, and it really flowed well. Like, as soon as the three of us and four of us got together, it was amazing,
Yeah. Well, the songs that I've seen, or certainly the video sounds absolutely killer. Talk to me about finding Andrew Freeman, though. I mean, I know he's a friend of yours.
Yeah.
But here you are in a band that had, these are the guys that played with Ronnie James Dio, arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, metal singers ever. Was there any pressure in terms of getting the right vocalist, or how did you go about choosing the voice for the project?
Like you said before, and even to answer your previous question, we didn't go in going, we got to sound like Dio.
No, I know that. I know that. But I mean, fans' expectations are going to be like, this singer has to be awesome. He's got to be like above and beyond, right?
Yeah. But musically, we didn't go in and go, we got to make it like,
of course,
Dio. There was a part, which was my idea in one of the songs, that we just took the verse from Last in Line, a couple of bars of it. And I said, let's use it here. It'd be great. It's just like a throwback to see who recognizes it and see who doesn't.
Right, a tip of the hat, we'll call it, right?
Yeah. So we went in, just let's see what happens, and that was the music that was created. As far as the singer, we were jamming. This first jam was just Jimmy, Viv, and I playing the old songs, and we were laughing and messing them up here and there, and we were having a great time. And then we decided to get together again a couple of weeks later. I said, I know a singer, this guy Andy's a great guy, and have him come down and sing with us, so it's not just us playing. And he came down and started singing the Dio stuff, and it was just so powerful. And it blew Vivian away, because Viv didn't know him before, I knew he was really good, and he blew everybody away, and it was like, wow. So he was able to sing the old stuff, and then we did a bunch of gigs. We probably did about 12, 15 gigs in the last couple of years, and he did them with us, and it just fit together, and it just worked. So it was like, wow. And the first gig we did in Europe was Belfast. Talk about a hard audience,
Right.
And they loved him there. And then we went to London, and everywhere we went, people really dug his singing. And the thing is, on this album, well, we didn't know if we could write together, so that was the next hurdle. And then we started writing, got in that mode, and sent Andy stuff, and he started coming up with stuff and lyrics and hooks, and it was like, wow, this is fucking cool, man. The hooks he was coming up with were fantastic. And so then it gelled that way too. So the whole thing just came together. It wasn't like we have to get a singer that sounds like Ronnie, we have to get a singer like this. It wasn't any of that. It was just, this just came together, and it happened, And it's funny because on the video, you see the comments and people going, well, he doesn't sound like Ronnie so much. They should have got.
See, exactly. That's what I know.
They should have got a Ronnie
that.
guy. Like, why would we do that? Ronnie sang the way Ronnie sang, and no one will ever sing like that again.
Right, and this is a new band. It's not a cover band. Exactly.
It's a new band. The most important thing is to play this music and sing it from your soul, your heart and soul. And not, let's get somebody that sounds like Ronnie, and then we put out an album. Then everybody will say, hey, this guy's trying to sound like Ronnie, but nobody could sound like Ronnie.
What?
So you can't win.
You can't
win under those circumstances. But Andy sings with his heart, and he puts his heart and soul into this, and he's got a great voice. And sometimes he does sound like Ronnie, the way Ronnie would approach a couple of things, But you can't, find anybody that's going to sing like Ronnie, and he's the best of the best, you know?
Yeah, and speaking of the best, I mean, let's just go back to Holy Diver. Take Ronnie out of the equation. The band itself, musically, you just fit together. You were the right drummer. Vivian was the right guitarist, and you know, it just fit. How was it getting back together with these guys and playing together in a band, making music, and having a project in mind? I mean, you guys are like a puzzle that just sort of fit together, right?
Yeah, and when we got back together, you know, I've seen Viv on and off over the years, but we never really hang out and stuff. So
Right.
it was a great chance to reunite with Viv. And Jimmy I've seen a bit more of. And then just when the three of us got in the room, it was just like everybody, like you hear of a lot of bands, like it never stopped.
Right, there's a magic, right?
Yeah, the magic was there, and we had such a great time. Viv's got no ego or attitude at all. Jimmy doesn't, I don't. So this is, after working with this band, this is like, out of all the bands I played with, my favorite combination of band. I look forward to going to rehearsals. I look forward to being with them, doing stuff with them. It's just fun, a good time. There's no problems. It's unbelievable. There's no issues, you know, and I can't say that about the other bands I've been in, you know. Kill Devil Hill, there were a lot of things going on. It wasn't pleasant. You know, it was a great band, but it wasn't pleasant at times. And Sabbath was Sabbath, you know. And
Heaven and Hell.
Heaven and Hell, you know, there was a lot of big guns in that band, so it was a different thing. Well, we got along good too, but this band, it's just totally magic, you know. Total, like, this is so cool. If we could do this full time, and have a bunch more years of a career with this band, it would be heaven, you know.
Well, I got to say that as a fan of the scene, of the music, and of course of you, I like this first video. I like what I'm hearing, and I really think that it would be great if it could go on 3, 4, 10 years, because I think there's a lot of potential with the project. Yeah. But this other project you're doing, though, Resurrection Kings.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. I mean, I get a sense that Last in Line is the band and sort of Resurrection Kings is the side project. Is that fair to say, or is that...
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. Exactly what to say.
Okay.
Because, you know, Last in Line's part of my roots, part of my history, and we're able to do this. That's my main focus. And once we get going, it would take a lot more of my time. So Resurrection Kings was something that came up from my friend Craig Goldy, who happens to be an ex-DIO guitar player, but we're good buddies. We play a lot together. He's a great guy, great guitar player.
Okay, talented, and crazy talented.
So he's just amazing. So he contacted me and said, you know, he's got this project from Italy. The keyboard player, Alexandro from Italy, put this together. He produced it, and they had these songs, and they needed drums on it. You know, you're interested, and I heard some of the stuff, and it was really cool, and I really liked it, and I did the drums on it. I recorded the drums at my home studio, and then sent them to the rest of the guys, and they recorded above, you know, on top of that, and then it came out really good. It sounds great. And so more or less it was just a project, and we'll try to do some shows with that too, you know, because you know, right now Heaven and Hell, Viv is still working with that Leppard, and they're going to always be doing something during the year. So when they're not, you know, we'll be doing Last in Line, and when Viv is busy, I could be doing some dates with the Resurrection Kings. And
gotcha.
It's just things I like to do. Music I enjoy, and I enjoy playing. So. Yeah. And it just happens to come out on the same label around the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, nice and perfect. Right now, you know, another guy that I like is Joel Hoekstra. He's with Whitesnake right now.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. You played on his Dying to Live album, you know, Joel Hoekstra. Right. Tell me about that involvement, because that's actually a really, really good album. I mean, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of writers are going to put it top 10 this year. It's just a great. So how did that get together? And of course, Just Scott Soto, Russell Allen, they sing their brains out on it. It's really, good
Yeah,
job.
when I heard the finished product, I went, wow, this is
Yeah,
awesome. And the
yeah,
singing on it's incredible, and the playing. And Joel rips it up, man. He's a great guitar player. Well, that came about with my good friend Tony Franklin. And
on bass.
Tony, this was a number of years ago. He said, hey, man, I'm doing this project, and your name came up, playing some drums on this. So I went, oh, okay, so let me check it out. I checked it out. It was really cool stuff. And so I wound up doing the drums on it, as a project. And then same thing, they recorded over my drums and then put it together. And this was a couple of years ago. This was probably 2.5 years ago, maybe longer, 3 years ago. So I didn't know it was, it took so long to put it together. I didn't know what he was going to do, what the status was of this. But then he got a deal and he started putting everybody on it. And then I heard it and it's like, wow, this is really cool. Really good album, good rock album. So I've been fortunate to be involved in all these, different projects and music, and I'm really enjoying it. The days of being in one big band are not happening anymore, you know, and I've done that all my career. Now it's like this multitasking phase of a career. You're doing all these different things, and I'm actually enjoying it. When I was younger, I just enjoyed one thing, now I'm appreciating a little bit different styles of music, still heavy, but different style.
Yeah, and I think it also has to do with album cycles and tour cycles. Back in the day, you could go on tour for 2 years, 300 shows or whatever.
Right.
Now you're doing, 3-week runs, 6-week runs, and then it's over. And then you got to get to that next project because, hey, a year is 52 weeks. It's not 6 weeks. You gotta keep it moving. So, the business has changed.
That's exactly what happened, because years ago when I was in DIO and Sabbath, I used to just do that. I didn't open myself up to anything else. I did those bands. And then I used to watch Carmine, who did multiple projects and different things and drum things and all sorts of stuff. And I go, Jesus, how do you keep all this going? He says, you should be doing some more of this. But I was in one band, I didn't need to really do it.
You didn't.
Now I'm doing. He was ahead of his time. He was doing this all the time, just multitasking with music, So
now, we said we were going to just do a quick update. We're not going to do the whole history, but I do have to ask you about Sabbath. They're doing the farewell tour. You were, from Mob Rules, you did onwards, that you did Heaven and Hell.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't appear that Bill Ward is going to be back for the farewell tour, which, I think fans would like to see. But if it's not Bill, my opinion, it should be you. It really should be you. And I'm guessing that they probably haven't asked you. Is that something that bothers you? I mean, don't you want to just put your hand up and say, hey, you over here?
Yeah, I would think, it's, they are obviously, I'm in touch with Tony here and there with emails, I always check on him, how he's doing. And I think about Tony a lot, since
he's had his health issues as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, these are all my friends, and people are getting sick, and it's awful, So I keep in touch with Tone. So, he's got my contact, I don't call up. Everybody goes, you should call up and let them know. And it's like, I never did that. They've always called me when they were, wanted me to play with them. So, no one is called. I'm not counting on it, or, I know they're using, probably that Tommy.
Right.
And, but the problem becomes it's a different band. There's different people around them, different managers, it's a whole different family, So, I think that might have something to do with it. And then, we played together with Ronnie, and it was me, Tony, and Geezer, and Ronnie. So if I was in the band, it's like me, Tony, Geezer, and Ozzy. Yeah. Yeah, some people take that as weird, oh, it's Heaven and Hell at Ozzy, so I don't know what's going on. I would love to play with them. I think what they should do is have everybody play. It would be cool. Like Bill comes out and plays, and and then I'll play a couple of songs, and then Tommy come out and play. Just have a because since it's the last tour or the last thing they're doing, there's so much history to the band, But I would, of course, love to do it. That would be, I would be honored to do it.
It would be absolutely spectacular, and I think it would be just because you weren't just a bit player that came on, I mean, you were on Mob Rules, one of their greatest albums of the 1980s. It's not like you anyway. Let's just finish on that then, because we'll update you when the albums both come out in February, I believe, right? Last in Line, just quickly, since we mentioned Mob Rules, when you got the gig and you got to record with Sabbath in the studio, do you remember that moment? Did that still stand out as like, oh wow, I'm going with the Sabbath guys? This kind of cool.
Because when I first joined the band, I was a kid. I was like 23 years old. I brought my drums down to audition with them in Los Angeles, and my '67 Mustang that needed a lot of work, and the drums were in the car. They fit in the car. So it started out from there, and then got in the band, and it was always, well, you're in the band until or unless Bill Ward comes back, because they expected him to come back. I mean, this was his baby, So the tour went on and on and on, and then Bill wasn't coming back, and then it became a point at on the tour in England where Warner Brothers called up and asked the band if they wanted to do a song for the heavy metal movie that was coming out. So they wanted to do it. So we had a couple of days off. So we went into John Lennon's house, which was owned by Ringo at this point. So we went in there and wrote the Mob Rules in this big English mansion, put the drums in the hallway with all this big wooden staircase. I mean, it was just amazing. And we recorded there, and it was like, wow, I'm recording with these guys, you know?
Exactly, right.
And, it was like, I guess Bill's not coming back. I'm on this record, but, you never know. So that was the first recording with them, and then we went on, finished the tour. Bill never came back, and it was like, okay, we're going to do an album. We're going to start rehearsing in 2 months. So it was like, yeah, cool, And then, but I wasn't like overwhelmed with it. I wasn't in there like a fan. I was up, just being a pro and going in that situation like, okay, let's make a great record. Whatever I can do, whatever you guys want, I'm there. It was more of a professional level than any sort of
of course,
life thing. Yeah. And then we got along great. I love those guys, Tony. So me and Tony are kind of the same. We're always fooling around and joking around. And I love Geese and of course Ronnie, so it was a great time. Great band.
If I can just ask you this, at that time, were you going in there as like a ghost musician and you were just going to lay the drums and then they thought Bill would come back and they would put his name on the album? Or did you know that, okay, this is my baby and my name's going on those liner notes?
No, I knew it was me because Bill didn't come back, and then they said, okay, we're going to rehearse. So we started rehearsing. We put all those songs. That's when all those songs were created and written. They weren't written before. They were written on the spot.
Okay. So there was no.
Tony had stuff. Geezer had stuff. Ronnie had stuff. Everything came together at those rehearsals. We recorded, and then there was no mention of Bill. And I didn't even think about it. I just thought, okay, we're doing it. So I never thought of Bill coming back at that point.
Okay, fair enough. And between Holy Diver and Mob Rules, which one's your favorite?
Holy Diver.
There you go. There you go. Vinny, always a pleasure. And of course, in February or March, when these things come out, we'll do a longer, more in-depth interview. Yeah. This is sort of the quick update. And hey, if Tony calls, tell him that Mitch wants to interview him. I need to interview him. He's on my bucket list of guys to interview still. So there you go.
I'm finally doing. I do these rock fantasy camps, and I did rock fantasy camp last year, and Bill was one of the guest stars on it. So that was really cool. I haven't seen Bill in a while, and we hung out, and that was really nice. And now in February, there's one with Tony Iommi. He's coming in. So. Yeah, so I'm going to be the musical director for that, and so I'm looking forward to at least seeing Tony and hanging out with him and doing this camp together. So it's going to be it's going to be cool just to really see him. And just so you know, the rest of the Last in Line album, wait till you hear it. It just kicks.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, feel free to send it over. I'll be more than happy to listen to it. But
yeah, it kicks. That's the great example of what the rest of the album sounds like. And then it was produced by Jeff Pilson.
Yeah, of course, from Foreigner and DOKKEN.
Just made it. Yeah, he made it come alive, and he worked with Andy on the melodies, and the sound of that album just sounds good. We had Jeff, and then this guy Chris Collier mixed it, and it just sonically sounds great, which is a good plus. People like to play things that sound good in their systems, or in their car and iPods, whatever.
I just interviewed Tom Werman, who produced a lot of the albums back then, and we had a long chat in that interview about Jeff Pilson. And Jeff, first of all, is the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but he's a workhorse. I mean, he is a workhorse. People think, oh, he's the bass player in DOKKEN. It's like, yeah, that was one of 85 things that this guy does. He is, he's helped resurrect Foreigner. He's produced a whole bunch of great stuff. He's had his own little side bands. The man is just a studio whiz. So that was definitely a good choice to have him produce, because I'm sure that he brought out the best.
I brought the band to him. I said, you guys, we should check out Jeff. Just like he did the last Kill Devil Hill record too. And I brought that to him, and he did it. And the reason why is because Jeff can get great sound, especially drums. He makes drums sound like real drums on Pro Tools. It's all digital, but you could hear the skins rattle. He just captures such a raw sound from the drums and from all the instruments. So I told Viv, I said, you got to check Jeff out, And so we went up there and we started working with him. And Viv loved him, absolutely. And so musical and so many ideas. He's a great producer, and he produced the shit out of this record. So
absolutely. Awesome. Did he end up on the record at all? Because I know that sometimes he'll add some backing vocals or some flourishes of some kind. Is he on there at all?
He played Mellotron on one of the songs.
There you go. Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah.
He does everything. Mellotron, bass, guitar, piano. He's a technophile. I gotta love him.
And he's a ball of positive energy. Every time you go there, he's never in a bad mood. He's always in a good mood and great mood, energy, and you feed off of him. And he is just so into what he does, and it's so easy to work with him like that. It's an amazing guy.
Absolutely. And of course, Last in Line, Heavy Crown comes out in February. There is the Heavy Montreal Festival in August. Hopefully you will get an invitation and come and do that here. That would be kind of fun.
That'll be great. And then there's Last in Line Rocks Facebook page.
Yes.
That's got all the info on it and all the upcoming stuff. Now we're moving along. So you guys could check that out.
There you go. Thank you, Vinny. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, you too. Take care of yourself, and I hope you feel better. It's cold, man.
Yeah. Always got a little cold. It's Montreal in the winter, right? You always got a little bit of a cold going on.
Oh, I know. That's awful.
I know. Got to move to California.
There you go. Well, here it's cool out, with the wind chill, about 75 degrees.
Let's see. Today it was 9 Celsius, so that's like 48 or something. So, yeah, I can sympathize with 75.
No, you need a light T-shirt here with that wind chill. It's unbelievable.
You're killing me. That's just not nice right there, but there you go. Heavy Crown, Last in Line. Thank you, Vinny.
All right. Take care, Mitch.
Cheers.
Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
And there you have it, folks. My interview with famed Dio and Black Sabbath drummer Vinny Appice. Very much looking forward to the new Last in Line album coming out in February 2016. Keep listening to One on One at all my different media outlets for your chance to win 2 tickets to Black Sabbath in Montreal at February 23rd at the Bell Center. And of course, if you like what you hear here and you feel like giving a contribution, I do have a PayPal address. It is mitchminute@aol.com, mitchminute@aol.com. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed Vinny. And there you go. See you soon. Bye for now.